Good afternoon. Are you ready to listen to some English this afternoon? Yes. I will be speaking a lot of English. So I know hopefully you won't have a headache by the end of the class. But I think it's important to listen to English as much as possible. So today I will be the teacher and you will be my students. All right, great. So there's a lot of you here today, and my question is, first, how much English do you use in your class? A little bit? 조금? A lot? 20%? Maybe? How about 50% in your classroom? No? Yeah, I thought so. So anyway, let me tell you a little bit about myself, and I'm going to speak very slowly, so I think you won't have a problem understanding. If you don't understand, it's okay. You don't have to understand everything, but if you kind of figure out, okay, I think I know what she's talking about, then you're doing a good job. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Kristen Cho. I went to LA when I was 7. Yeah, very young. And my background is in English teaching. I have my TESOL, master's in TESOL, and my undergraduate was English literature. So my background is English education. I taught at IHA for 4 years, and I also do radio. So I don't know if you've heard EBS radio. Is there anyone who listens to EBS radio? Yeah, some? Okay. So I do a program there. It's called Business English. And basically that is pretty much my story. I've been in Korea for about 10 years. So I know the situation, the English education system is changing very, very, very quickly. And so a lot of teachers are having a lot of headache and stress. Yes, because of English, right? And our 회장님 was like, okay, so we do. It's very important. And so that's why I came here for an hour. I cannot teach you everything that I know, but I just want to show you that you are totally capable of listening and understanding English if you do it a lot. So 10 minutes, it's not going to help you. But if you keep listening again and again and again, it'll get easier and easier and easier. So, in the beginning, when I taught at IHA, I was teaching 교양 영어. And in this class, we cannot speak Korean. So the teachers are told, you cannot speak Korean in this class, and the students cannot speak Korean in this class. So, on the first day when we have class, they come in here, they sit down just like you, sit down, and then, they're listening to the teacher. First grade, right? 대학교 1학년, right? And then she's, like these people, these teachers are speaking English, and they have panic in their face. They're like panicked, like, oh, and they're like with their friends, like, wow, 무슨 말이야? What? Now, interestingly, that's the first day. Then what happens is that slowly and surely, because in Korea, everybody has good grammar, good reading. Korean students have good foundations. So when you have a good foundation, all you have to do for listening, for speaking, is to kind of tap into that foundation. You have your information up here, you just need to use it. But usually, Korean people are very shy, students are very shy and they don't feel the confidence, 자신감, right? Like, you're afraid to make a mistake, right? So oftentimes that's why a lot of the people are afraid to speak. So at Ihwa, by the end of the semester, the students, you'll be amazed at how well they can communicate in English and also write in English. So I really, really believe from my experience that anything is possible when it comes to speaking. It's just that if you chop it up, if you do your instruction in Korean and you don't speak English, it doesn't give an opportunity for your students to speak English. Does that make sense, right? So if you're always giving instruction in Korean, they have no opportunity to speak. So I think as teachers, all of us, we need to work on it ourselves. And the government is telling the teachers too, you better know how to speak English in class. It's a lot of pressure, but it can be done. So let me just tell you, okay, let me move on to the next one. Oh, I don't know, I'm not very good with this. How do I move to the next page? Hello? Hello? Yay, to the rescue. Okay. I'm sorry. Next page. Okay, thank you. Okay. So, why must we use English in the classroom? Why? Because my boss, the president, told me to. Yes, that's true. Yes, we have to. But there are many theories, and I don't want to talk about too much academics, but there is two, oftentimes I'm sure you've heard of the communicative language teaching. And that just means that you learn through interaction with that target language. What that means is that you learn the language, reading, writing, grammar, that kind of thing, by communicating in English. So it's not like, okay, everybody, let's learn grammar. It's not that kind of teaching. It's kind of an overall teaching. So I'll just give you an example. I have a son. He's 4 years old. Very cute. Speaking like a real mom. And I don't teach him the alphabet. I know, you think, there's some kids these days, they know Hangul at like 1.5 or 2 years old. These kids these days, the mothers are teaching them everything and, they're really, really smart. But I don't do that. I just talk to him a lot. And you know what? Experts, 전문가, right? They tell mothers, just in case, they tell mothers to speak to their children as much as possible. So how many mothers do we have out there? Who do you have, or daddies, or do you have children? Everyone has children? Let me see some hands. Come on. Let me see. Yeah. Oh, only 5? Okay. Only 5. You look like you have children. Okay. All right. So think of it as a very fundamental, just a very basic thing as mothers and fathers, okay? What we do with our children. And even in Korean, they say if you speak to them a lot, that their brains, they learn a lot, and they're also better speakers. And I think that is true also with language too. Right? Absolutely. If we speak to our students a lot, then what will happen? They too will be able to speak the language. So, that is, I think, key. So my son speaks both Korean and English is bilingual. Yeah. So always speaking in English and always speaking in Korean. Your students are very, very capable of speaking two languages. But in the classroom, most of the instruction is in Korean. And that's usually the problem. So, what do we need to do? Okay, we need to, as teachers, I'm a teacher, you're a teacher, or maybe 원장님, I'm not sure. But we need to work on our speaking, right? And how do you do that? How can you do that? Everyone's like, Well, one way is there are a lot of classes these days for teachers that help teachers to teach in English, right? TEE, teaching English in English. Yay. Okay. So, all right. So I want to ask you, do you do this in your classroom? Do you do this in your classroom? Do you use TEE in your classroom? Who does? Can I see some hands? Oh, one. One. Okay. What kind of teaching? Now, usually, though, you may say, all right, well, you know what, Kristen, listen, this is 수능, and 수능 is different from, your conversation class. We need the test. We need the results, right? I understand that, but I think if you've seen the rhythm of English education, before we didn't have TOEIC speaking. There was no TOEIC speaking. We didn't have OPIC. Do you know this test, OPIC? Yeah, it's a speaking test as well. And I really believe that in Korea, with our students, they will have some sort of speaking test in the future. So we have to, I think, prepare for that. Okay. So today, what I'm going to do is we're going to do a little demonstration. Moving on. Okay, now. Okay. Where is the... There we go. Okay. Do you teach grammar in your classroom? Yes? This is just an example. Teaching demonstration, a grammar lesson. Okay. And we're going to practice one right now, just as if I am the teacher and you are the students. Okay. Very basic. So easy. I know. You're probably thinking, oh, come on. This is like so basic. But now when you try to do it in English, maybe it's not so easy, right? Okay, so today I'm going to start what you can say in class. You can say things like, today we're going to do 뭐뭐뭐. It could be anything. We're going to work on verb, tense, and agreement. So you don't have to know all of the English expressions. But I think as teachers, you do need to know some important grammatical expressions that you can use in the classroom. Okay, so we're going to learn. That's very basic. We are going to learn prepositions today. What is prepositions in Korean? Thank you. Yes, I thought you would know. Okay, we're going to learn nouns or pronouns. You can do a number of things. And you know what? You don't have to do 100% English in your classroom. You could start by doing, if you haven't done any English, you can start by doing maybe 20%, then 30%, then 40%. You can kind of make your way up there, but at least introduce or be comfortable trying to speak in the class. Okay, so today we're going to learn verb, tense, and agreement. Okay, who knows, right, the answer, for example, number 1. Okay, who knows the answer for number 1? Now, do you see up here there is direction? So write the right verb form in each blank. So if you see directions like that, I think it's important to read it to them in English. Let them hear the English as much as possible. So everybody, can we do it together? Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Write the right verb form in each blank. Okay, come on, let's go. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Yeah. You know what? If you don't speak English, it's very hard on your mouth. Do you know that? Yeah. Because for some reason, look at my mouth as I'm speaking, I use, kind of like a lot. And that's what you need to do. So if you're not used to write the right verb form in each blank, it's not going to work. So the most important first thing that you need to do is to open your mouth. So everybody, I just want you to go, just kind of, okay. So, 오버해도 돼요. Okay. Okay. And right. It's a hard one. R is hard, right? Yeah. Okay. Right. The right verb form in each blank. Now, just there is hard because verb and form is just like hard, right? See, now this is, so as teachers, just start with basics. Try to work on the pronunciation. Try to work on just the basics. And the basic is just open your mouth and speak English. That's all you have to do. So write the right verb. And remember, in English, there's a rhythm, right? There's a kind of rhythm. You got to catch that rhythm. Okay, so write the right verb form in each. Okay, you got to kind of like do. I know it feels uncomfortable because you feel like you're doing an overreaction, but you do need that when you need to speak English. So write the right verb form in each blank. Very good. Now let's do it a little bit faster, okay? Okay, everybody. Okay, now, I'm the teacher, you're the students. Okay, now, what I want you to do is, 1, 2, 3, write the right form in each blank. Okay. Okay, we're opening our mouth. Good. I like that. Everybody at the beginning, it was like, yeah, now you're moving. Okay, very good. Now, the next thing that you can say, for instance, is, okay, let's do. It's very easy. Let's do number 1. So easy. Come on, everyone. Let's do number 1. You don't have to make it complicated. Okay, so let's do number 1. Okay, number 1. Okay, come on, do. Okay, and so, right? Okay, are you finished? Are you finished? Isn't that something that we use as teachers all the time? Right? Okay. Are you finished? Okay, good. Okay. So then, now we say, for instance, you could say many things. For example, what's the answer to number 1? Or if you want to ask the students, right? Who can tell me the answer to number 1? Okay, so I'm going to ask you, all right, are you finished? Are you finished? Yes. And you know what? Have your students use yes, no, maybe. Teach them basic things that they can use in the classroom. Okay, so who can tell me or who has the answer to number 1? Me. Okay. Nobody. Okay, good. Okay, come on. Someone help me. Who has the answer to number 1? You got to raise your hand. Oh, what happened? Oh, dear. Oh, this is not good. How did that happen? Okay. Do you remember the first one? Okay, so who has the answer? Oh. Okay. 이정? Okay, thank you. Oh. Okay. Oh. Just to let you know, I'm a completely computer dummy. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. So who has the answer? Please. And then this is another expression. Raise your hand, right? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Who has? Okay, yes. She sings very well. So then what do? You say, what would you say? Good job. Yeah. Okay, good job. Okay. Everybody knows good job, but are there other expressions that we can use? Well done. Okay, anything else? Excellent. Okay, yeah. Okay, and what else? Perfect. Okay, fantastic. Okay. One thing about English is that we like to use a lot of compliments. 칭찬. Yeah, so it's very dramatic. You know, like, oh, good job. It's okay, it's nice, but we say, oh, great, you know, and use emotion. Great. Good job. Okay. Yeah. That's not very good. So you got to learn how to use some emotion, because with English, when you speak English, it's part of the thing, of the whole equation. Okay, so great job, good job. All right. Then what do we say? Next. Easy. Next. Number 2. You see, it's not that difficult to use English in the classroom. Okay, next, number 2. Okay, let's take a look. Number 2. Let's do number 2. We use the same expression again. Okay, everybody, let's do number 2. Are you? Yeah, let's do. Okay, no, that's my. Are you finished? Yes. Oh, you're finished. Okay, great. Okay, now who has the answer to number 2? Can I see any hands? I don't have money to give you. Sorry, but I'll give you a great compliment. Who has number 2? Anyone? I want someone in the back. Anyone who knows the answer? My sister, and this we call blank, right? Blank. Taking photos. Okay, this is the present tense. Who has the answer to number 2? Wow. Oh, yeah. Over there. Whoa, right, excellent. Okay, bravo. Woohoo. All right. So then you repeat. My sister loves taking photos. That's right. Photos. Photos? No. Photos. And you know when you say love, you got to say it with feeling. My sister loves taking photos. You got to pause. Okay, let's do it again. My sister loves taking photos. Perfect. Excellent. Okay, let's move on to number 3. Move on to number 3. Oh, let's go to number 3. All right, number 3. Now this is tricky. All right. I blank to bed early yesterday. Okay, and the verb is go. Okay, so go ahead, do number 3. Do number 3. All right. Now, are you finished? Okay, great. Okay, so who can tell me the answer to question number 3? Or who has the answer to question number 3? Anyone? Anyone? Okay, over there in the back. I went to bed early yesterday. Perfect. Okay, gosh. All right. Perfect. That's right. And now, here's the thing. How do we know it's past tense? How do we know? Yes, so another expression that you can say is more keyword, right? Okay, the key word here is yesterday. This tells us that it's the past tense. So, I went to bed early yesterday. And then you can do number 4. Now, do you see that my language to you, is it difficult? No. Do you think you can do it? Yeah. Okay. All right. So, I just gave you an example of how you too can use this classroom English in your class. Okay, now, How many of you are teachers? Because I heard that a lot of you are like 원장님s or, like the managers of these institutes. How many are teachers in here? How many? Are you English teachers or are you Korean? Oh, yeah, Korean. Okay, you got to teach me some Korean. Okay, okay. My Korean's not so good. Okay, all right. Korean, whether it be English, whether it be math. Okay, so this is just one example. Let's move to the next page. Okay, very good. Now, one of the reason, I'll tell you why I'm here. Actually, I have made an online, and I think that some of you have heard about. I have a 60-lesson online course, and that I made with ePublic. And in the 60 lessons, it is teaching teachers how to teach in English. So it's almost, I feel a little embarrassed, but I feel like I am, advertising, like, oh, listen to my lecture, I hope you don't get that feeling, but we're just showing you the importance of, using English in the classroom. So here is just another example of useful expressions that you can use. Now take a look. One thing on the second line, it's missing an article. It should be the exercise. So the is missing. Now if you look at some of these expressions, what expressions do you think would be useful to you in your classroom? Which one? Whoop, I keep touching this. This is not good. I'm so sorry. Okay. Oh, thank you. All right, thank you. Any questions? Gosh, jeez. Okay, so Ijeon again. Oh, boy. We've got a flying mouse. Okay. They don't have a mouse here, so this mouse is going everywhere. Okay, and one last one. Okay, there we go. So what expressions here do you think you could use in your classroom? Number one, here, let's read it together, okay? Okay, here are some exercise questions. Isn't that basic? Right? Here are some exercise questions. Can you say exercise again? Exercise, okay? Exercise. Okay. So, again, I think what's important is that if you're not confident, then practice a little bit at home. And I know it sounds funny, but do you have a mirror? Do you have a mirror? Yeah, of course. Bathroom, women, vanity, makeup. Okay. What you want to do is practice in front of a mirror. I know it sounds silly, but the reason why I say that, for example, here, say exercise. Just normally exercise. Say it again. Exercise. Now look how I say. Exercise. Basic phonics. Exercise. So if you don't move your mouth in front of the mirror, then you're doing something wrong. That's why it's actually, if you really want to, be able to speak English and feel confident, is to see yourself in the mirror. Because I tell you, a lot of people do not move their mouths very much. Let's move on to the next one. Let's do the exercise. Okay, a lot of you are doing... Let's do the exercise. Yeah. Exercise. Okay? I'll give you 1 minute for this exercise. We're saying this word exercise a lot, so we got to practice exercise. Okay. Exercise. 좀 아프죠? Yeah. So, okay. Exercise. I'll give you 1 minute for this exercise. Now that's a really good. Let's chop it down. We got to break it down. I'll give you 1 minute for this exercise. Okay. All right. So when you are speaking, take the pause. I'll give you 1 minute for this exercise. Okay. It doesn't sound, it sounds really unnatural. You see? So, it's okay to pause. And speaking slowly is totally fine. You don't have to speak like me, you know. I mean, obviously, okay? So, I'll give you 1 minute to exercise. For this exercise, I'll give you 1 minute for this exercise. Now, do you see? You know what? It's this. I'm sorry. I keep doing this and. Okay, this is really. Okay, I need to come here. Okay, need to stay away. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'll give you 1 minute for this exercise. So, one thing when you're speaking is not only just the rhythm, but also pausing and stress. Stress is really important, and it makes you, if you know how to stress and if you know how to pause, it makes you sound like a native speaker. But if you don't know how to stress and pause, then, you know, I'll give you an example. Long time ago, my cousin, he said, this was when I was in college, and my hometown is Jeonju, actually. Is there anyone who's from Jeonju? No? Oh. That's where I was born. So I went from Jeonju to LA. I went from like country girl to like city girl. So anyway, I asked him, we were talking about New York, and he said, you know, 뭐뭐뭐뭐뭐 Manhattan, like that. And I'm like, 그거 어디야? And he's like, 있잖아. Come on, you know New York, Manhattan. 그것도 몰라? And I was like, what are you talking about? And so then finally I figured it out. So, and then I said, oh, Manhattan. Ah. And he was like, 그래, 잘났어. Yeah. So you see how stress and sometimes pausing can be very important. Again, like accessory. You know, that's another one. Accessory, it's the same thing. How do we say it? Accessory. You've got to do the stress. Accessory. Accessory. Yeah. Manhattan. You see that? So of course, stress, pause, rhythm. Because you know what? Right now, I'm sorry, but you are too old to have native pronunciation. Sorry. Yeah, they say after 11 years old, your pronunciation goes down, down, down. So, you cannot get perfect pronunciation, but you can be very communicative as long as you follow these stress and pauses. Okay, let's move on to the next. Let's start with the first question. Okay, do you see the stress in the sentence? Let's start. Okay, or you can say, let's start the lesson. Okay, everybody. Okay, we say this a lot. Okay, everyone, everybody, students, right? We say that a lot. Okay, students. Okay, everybody. Let's start with the first question. So it's like, boom, let's start, and then it kind of goes down, right? Go over the questions, pause, all together. Okay, so let's do it. Okay, why don't we go over the questions all together? You see, it's much easier to speak like this than, why don't we go over the questions all together? It's like, it's just not right. So it has a rhythm. Why don't we go over the questions all together? Okay, let's do it one more time. And why don't we go over the questions all together? Okay, everybody say question. Question, you know, question. Yes, it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one because a lot of Korean people say question like that. But it's actually just question. Yeah. So sometimes it's not good to uba with your pronunciation. Like, you know how some Korean, why don't we go over the questions all together? You know what? Just keep it simple and clear as possible. So instead of saying question, just say question. Question. Okay. Why don't we go over the question all together? Go over all together. Okay, very good. And next one. How do you break this up? Who can tell us the answer to number 1? Very good. So, who can tell us, pause, the answer to number 1? Let's do it again. Who can tell us the answer to number 1? Do you see my very slow pause right there? Who can tell us the answer to number 1? You see that? Okay, let's do it again. Who can tell us, sir? Yes. Who can tell? And when you ask the question, you've got to do the intonation, right? Who? Yeah. Who can tell us the answer to question? Okay. Who can tell us? Who can tell us the answer to number 1? Okay. Who can tell us the answer to number 1? Okay. Now let's move on. So do you see, I cannot share everything today with you in this short time, but this is how we can start. This is how we can start. Let's move on to the next page. Okay. Okay, now, this tells us some expressions for grammar teaching. Okay. Do you know the first person, second person, third person? Right? I mean, I know you know it in Korean, but do you use that in English? Probably not so much, yeah? Past tense. How about now, present tense? How about continuous, present continuous? Present perfect? What's present perfect? Yes, okay. So, what you can do is the students will not understand everything in English. So what you could do is use both. So when you teach them present perfect, use English and Korean. So use Korean and say present perfect. So get in the habit of using both at the same time. Because really, realistically, right? In reality, you cannot do everything in English, right? So as much as you can. All right. Now, let's take this one, for example. This sentence, right? Okay. So how would you go about saying this? So he, she, okay, how would you break that up? When you are giving instruction like this, I think you need some more pausing, right? So where would you pause? He, she, it, and they are in the third person, right? So when you give some formal instruction, all right, and you are giving them some new information, then you definitely want to pause more. So he, she, it, and they are in the third person. Exactly. So let's do that naturally. One more time. For sure, right? The third person. Okay. I want you to take a look here. The past tense tells us what happened. What happened. Okay. Okay, let's do it again. The past tense tells us what has happened. Okay. The past tense tells us what has happened. So you explain in Korean, and then why not say the same thing in English. I think that would be a really good way to start. So, how would you say this in Korean? Yeah. 과거는 Okay. 말해준다. Okay.
과거 시제는 무슨 일이 일어나는지 우리에게 말해준다. The past tense tells us what has happened.
Exactly, like that. Just like that. So this means though, if you're going to do this, you have to prepare more. That's the thing. As teachers, because you're not native speakers, you have to prepare your English in the classroom. So it's not easy, I know that. It's not easy to do Korean and English. But why don't we start? Do you think you can do it in the classroom? Yes? Oh, I like that. Who said that? Yes. Okay. Yes, I think you can. I think you can, most definitely. I just will show you, so enough practice. I'll show you, let's see. Okay. So this is just, these are all the topics that you will see in the online lecture. And as a teacher, it's not easy to just talk in front of the camera, but I did. I just spoke in front of the camera, and I did 60 lessons. And these are some of the topics that we cover, beginning with, homework, starting the class, also grammar instruction, reading, writing instruction, how to use the chalkboard, what kind of language you use to use the chalkboard. Also here, for the younger kids, things like games or it's always good for the students to have some sort of fun activity. It makes it so much easier to learn. So even if you're doing a grammar lesson, bring in some sort of game. It really, really helps. So try that. Then we have here some of the things that I told you, like great, fantastic. What are some ways we can tell our students that they did a good job? Or how about like asking a question or answering a question? What do we say when we want to ask our students a question? You can simply, so for example, do you have any questions? Right? 질문? Any questions? Do you have any questions? You do? You have a question? Yeah? No? Okay. All right. Okay. We'll ask questions later. So things like that you can use in the classroom. And I was told that in March on the website, I believe this is a class that you have to, the 학원 doesn't pay for this course. So apparently it seems that you have to register. So it's up to you, but just to tell you that this is the content. Okay. And one thing as a teacher for me is that I don't like boring. I like to keep it fun, right? I mean, like professors, who are very serious and they're very smart, but they're not good speakers. You never learn anything, right? It's always like the fun teachers that you learn something. So we try to be fun in the classroom. All right. Last page simply is this, and that is if you have any questions for me, who is brave enough to ask me a question? You don't have to ask in English. Oh, question. Oh. Oh, gosh. That's my kind of student. Thank you very much. Actually, don't have a book. The only thing that I can offer you is my online course. It's like I said, there's 60 lessons and 20 minutes each per lesson. And I really try to make it as fun. But one thing is you have to be ready for something. It's mostly in English. Can you handle it? Yeah? Okay. Okay. That's the only thing. But I guarantee you, by lesson number 30, you're going to be like, you will understand everything I'm saying. How is it now? Let me ask you. It's been almost an hour. In the beginning, how did you feel when I was speaking? You know, here was our 회장님 like, oh, and I was like, oh dear. And then, you know, I'm speaking English. How did you feel? I'm sure a little uncomfortable, but how do you feel now? I mean, I think already, it is already feeling a little bit more comfortable. What do you think? Yay, okay, good. No, it's true, and I'm not saying it because I'm a good speaker. It's not just me. This is how it is in language learning. Even with me, when I don't speak a lot of Korean, I lose my Korean. 저 한국말도 해요. But when I go to America and I'm there for a couple of years and I don't speak Korean, I start losing my Korean. That's the thing with language. So if you don't speak it, you'll never speak it. But if you keep speaking it, then you'll get better. So I think you really, like today, I really hope that you feel like, okay, I'm gonna really make an effort. I'm gonna try to speak English more. Okay? Not just for the students, but also for me as a teacher. Don't you think? Yeah? Yeah. Because you know, these days, the kids, they're really smart. And they speak really good English. So if the teacher doesn't speak English very well, or the pronunciation is not very good, 무시해요. Right? Like they're like, well, you know. So let's not be one of those teachers. Any other questions for Kristen? You can accept my age. Please do not ask me my age. Yes. Okay. All right. Anything just that you're curious about? Come on, be brave. You can do it. Not so easy. You know, it's so funny. As a teacher, when you're teaching, you want the students to ask. But then when you become the students, it's not always so easy, huh? Okay. So anyway, that is my lecture today. Hopefully, I think the most important thing to remember is that to have confidence in yourself, right? Because if you have a good foundation of grammar and writing and listening skills, speaking is just a matter of practice. It's just practicing. So it's really about whether you're going to try to speak or I don't care, that kind of attitude. So if you try and you make an effort, then you will be able to do it. I guarantee it. And you need to also, like I said, you need to practice. And I think this is one good way of practicing your English. Okay, very good. So anyway, it was such a great pleasure. Well, I didn't know there would be so many. Usually when I do radio, it's really nice because you don't see anybody. And you know, but when you have an audience like this is quite something else. So anyway, thank you so much, and I really wish you all the best with your teaching. And hopefully today will be the day that you go home and you say, okay, you know what? I'm an English teacher, or I'm a teacher, and I think I need to really do something about my speaking. Okay? All right, very good. Hope you have a really nice day, and maybe we will meet again. Thank you.